And how are you?
I am well. How are you?
I am doing very well, very well. Um, you just missed Lauren, but she said hello.
Hey,
um,
girl.
thank you so much for taking the time out to um, speak and talk about UndiWash today. It is definitely a pleasure to um, have you here with us and Endo Black, like I say, Lauren and all the ambassadors want to thank you for doing this interview for us. And first, want to ask, how are you today?
I am well. So I have some disclaimers.
Okay.
So first of all, I want to say thank you for having me.
Mhm.
Like this really means a lot to me. That's number one. Number two, sometimes I have some co-hosts that kind of like to make a little bit of noise.
Uh-huh.
So if you hear them, I'm going to be mortified, but please forgive me.
So it's definitely fine. I definitely typically when I interview, there are also co-hosts in the back with usually not mine, but others. So I'm used to it. It's totally fine. No worries at all. For sure. So we want to jump right in. I'm not sure if you had a chance to review the questions I sent.
Yeah, I looked over it.
Mhm.
Most of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to pick a few
Okay.
from the list for sure. But first, obviously, I would love for you to, tell us who you are and about your business. Give us some background.
Okay, so my name is Shannon. I am the owner of UndiWash. UndiWash is a plant-based vegan laundry detergent. It actually kills the bacteria that gives women vaginal infections. So how I started with UndiWash, basically I have worked at a gynecology office now for the past 7 years. I have a vagina. I've wanted a new vagina probably every month. Not as of recently, but for the past couple years, I probably wanted a new vagina every month because I always had some type of infection. If it wasn't yeast, it was BV. I had ureaplasma, mycoplasma, like my vagina was just going through it. So that was also being in that field and seeing thousands of women, like we would see hundreds of women every day, at least 200 in our office. And I would say probably about 80% of them would have some type of recurrent vaginal infection. So I'm just like, I knew I was over it. I knew I was over the antibiotics and all of that. So I could only imagine, what they felt. So of course, I would listen. I'm not a doctor, but I would be in a room with the doctor when they speak to the patient, and it would be a recurring thing. Well, what type of detergent do you use? What are you eating?
Mm-hmm.
So the detergent part stuck with me because the women were always like, well, I use this and that. And they were like, okay, well, use a sensitive one. And it was like, well, do you have one that you recommend? No, just a sensitive one. So just light bulbs and chimes and things started going off. And then one day I really was just like, could this actually be, an issue that we're having with our underwear as opposed to all the other triggers? And
Right.
it was like, yeah, that's why we asked the question, because it could be. So then I was like, well, what type of ingredients should be in something like this? They told me a couple things. I did some research, and I was like, well, I'm gonna try to get this thing together. So I put together the ingredients that I came up with. Had probably about 50 or 60 people that I knew just try it out, and just people in general that said, oh, I'll be willing to try it out. And it was a thing. I was like, okay. So my infections basically stopped. My sister had bad BV, it stopped. And I was like, wait a minute, let me
Okay, you might be on to something. Yeah.
let me keep trying this thing. Let me see. And that's basically how it came about. Like there was an issue, and I was just over it. I just could not take it anymore. Like I really wanted a new vagina, and I would ask the doctor, like, where can I get one from? Like I'm over it. So that's how we have the UndiWash.
Got you. Very, very interesting story. But I think we all know, if we haven't experienced it ourselves, we all know someone who has those reoccurring issues. Just like you were saying, your sister, my twin sister, she's always had those type of issues for whatever the reason. And I know that your product is fairly new. So talk to me a little bit about like development. What was product development like? And I know you were just saying, ingredients were important to you, and making sure things were pure. So talk to me about the development process and how the final product came to be.
So with the ingredients, basically, I knew it had to be things that were okay for people that were sensitive. Because for me, if you freaking look at me wrong, it's like infection. Like it was just always something. And then I'm allergic to latex, so I knew that the sensitivity is there. Right. Like it just had to be something that was sensitive, that was not going to irritate people, because you don't want to make the problem worse. You don't want to fix, let's say, yeast and then be causing BV because their pH is off because of your ingredients. So I knew I wanted the ingredients to be plant-based. One of the main ingredients is kind of like the lactobacillus that we have in our vaginal tract and urinary tract that regulate that pH. So I definitely wanted to find an ingredient like that that I knew would keep that pH balance, and then also be an antifungal. So just basically having those plant-based ingredients were important. And it was just a lot of reading into it, as, how much of one thing should be in it, what things work together, what things don't work together. Should it be foamy? Should it be not foamy? But then with that part, I kind of came to the conclusion of finding the best product to have that soapy, I guess, texture, because people are used to that. Some things that, you try to change people's mind with some things, but with a lot of things you can't. Because a lot of people think that suds mean clean. They don't. They don't. But, perception. So that was important. Just basically just finding everything that was organic, that would get the job done, that would do exactly what I said it was gonna do.
And this was all you?
All me.
You wow. Yep. So you didn't go to like I've had friends who have gone to like pharmaceutical companies and doctors. And did you consult with anyone? Or was this just experience-based and I got to figure this out?
Experience-based, and I have to figure it out, and just a lot of reading. But then I tried to go to a chemist.
Okay.
I told her what I wanted, pay her my good hard-earned money, and that did not work out for me.
Nothing. Okay.
I said I wanted it to be the consistent, because my problem was I couldn't find the right ingredients to make it the consistency. Well, I guess she did help me in a way. I'll take that back. So I couldn't figure out the consistency part. So I really wanted her to figure that out for me.
Okay.
Because it was too loose. It was too watery.
Yeah.
And of course, people are not used to that. They're like, like that.
Right.
Still works, still same product.
Yes.
But and at this point, I haven't done anything different. But the chemist did show me, because I was basically doing a cold pour. Now I heat it up. And
yes.
So she did help me with that part. But the formulation that she gave me, it was just hard. Like it didn't even come out the bottle. And it definitely wouldn't have lasted 2 weeks with what she gave me. But again, trial and error, she put it to the fire. I said, okay, well, let me try my way and put it to the fire. And then I have it how I have it now. So I guess she did help me.
Yes, I love that. Love that. Talk to me about, and this probably came with the product testing and trying to figure it out, but talk to me about the difficulties with the product development, and then like the best parts of, start to finish, the idea that you had on paper, and then the final product. Talk to me about the best and most difficult parts of actually launching UndiWash.
So I would say the most difficult was basically figuring out that formula, because I did put it out, I guess, softly,
Hmm.
and people were getting it, and I was getting their opinion, and it was, oh, it's too runny, it's too runny, it wasn't soapy enough, it didn't lather enough. But in my mind, I'm just like, I don't know if I really wanted to do that, because then I may have to take away from the integrity, because I have to add other things.
Yeah.
But
Right,
that's
right,
where
right.
that heating it up came into
Hmm.
play. And then putting less water, more water, just figuring that part out. And I guess the best part is when I realized I can't please everyone. So it's like, I'm going to make this thing, you're gonna like it or you're not gonna like it. You're gonna
Hmm.
buy it or you're not. Because I can't please everyone.
Right.
I got it to a consistency that I felt was good, and a lather that I felt was good enough.
Hmm.
And I was just like, this is it. This is what you got. Buy it or don't.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So
Um, what was it like for you seeing and uh, experiencing the final product? Like once you finally had it in your hands and you were able to start mass producing and giving it to people, what was that like for you?
it was amazing. Because just like from the beginning, once I realized that it actually worked and it was helping people, if
Hmm.
not get rid of altogether, or just making it less, like let's say people had maybe every month they would get 3 yeast
Uh-huh.
infections, or 3 issues with BV. If that went down to 2, I'm like, yes, we're
Yeah.
getting there. That went down to 1, I'm like, yes, we're getting there. So the fact that it was actually, and it's still to this day, the fact that it actually helps people, and people are just like, yo, I love this product. If for nothing else, like my underwear feel clean, and I just the overall, I guess, the overall experience of UndiWash itself has been amazing for people, because again, yes, I have the product, and I know this was another question, but yes, I have the product, but it's more so about the education for me.
Hmm.
So if we can teach you in the beginning, what your triggers are, especially for little girls and little boys, if we can teach
Yes.
them how to deal with periods, and how little boys should not, make us feel bad about them, and how they should be comfortable. If mommy says, can you get my pad out my purse? You're not
Right.
like, yeah, I don't want
Right.
that. Like, I think that is like the biggest thing. I don't
Yes.
ever have to sell another bottle of UndiWash, but if I can get people to understand that they're not alone in this whole vaginal health, sexual health spectrum,
Hmm.
that's like the best thing to me.
Mm. Yes. 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 Um, where do you see? Yeah, and I know you just said you don't ever have to, you don't ever have to sell another bottle at this point of UndiWash, but where do you see your business in 5 years?
I see us with a bigger space, well, a space period, because I'm out of my kitchen.
Hmm.
So with a space, a multifaceted space. So it would be, of course, a warehouse type space, where we can make the UndiWash and get it out and things like that. Providing jobs for people, but also being a space where we can use it for other things. And also having that education, like if we wanted to have an educational class, we could use that space for that. Just basically getting the word out to more people, and getting a space that's
Hmm.
multifaceted, and being
Hmm.
more so of a household name as a brand, and not just a detergent.
Gotcha. Um, currently, right now, um, is UndiWash on your site? Is it just on your site? Is it in stores at all?
So it's just on my site. We gonna speak it to its
Yes, we
existence.
are,
That's
honey.
gonna
Because I
be
was just
in
about to say,
some stores.
if it's not already, it will be. It will
Yeah,
be.
right now it's just on my website, and then I do pop-ups. So people could come out and purchase it that way. But we're in a doctor's office. Yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah.
Right.
So
And
we're
it
in the
is
doctor's
though.
office in Columbia. So you can come there to purchase UndiWash and see a bomb Black doctor.
Yes.
But yes, so it is so right now in a doctor's office.
Hey, that's fantastic. Fantastic. Um, right. I'm sorry.
You can.
I'm having a little, no, I just got a little heartburn. That's why I got my tea
Okay.
right here. Right as we're wrapping up, tell me about your most recent business win. Something great that happened as far as good news or new customers or anything.
So a couple things. So we have a lot of new customers. More people are becoming aware of UndiWash. So that's a big deal. I just spoke to a group of 12 to 15-year-olds, one about vaginal hygiene and just different things about being a woman. A lot of them didn't know anything about a gynecologist. So I explained that. That was like a big deal to me. And each of them said they did learn something. So that was big. And then we have a couple orders that go out to Canada. So that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can
And I guess,
international. Yes, I love it. Did you have plans to start a business? Like, did you want to become an entrepreneur, or again, did this just come out of your experience and needing the change?
I would say yes, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, only because yes, I have a regular job. I've always had a regular job, but for me, that it's not me. I get to the point, especially if it's not a fulfilling thing, I get to the point where you can tell that I'm not being as productive, as I can be. You can tell that, and I can feel when I'm not feeling something, or someone isn't treating me right, because then I don't want to be at that place. So then, of course, I'm late and just everything is lacking. And I know the potential that I have. People that hire me, I know the potential that I have. But after a while, it's just like, I can't do this for you anymore. It always gets to a point where I'm just like, I need to do my own thing. Like even if I work with people, not working for is my issue.
Yeah.
So I knew, and I've always had little side businesses, and tried to figure things out. But I'm like, this one, no, God gave me this. This is it. This is it for Shannon. So yeah, and my advice would be, because first of all, I'm a Virgo. I don't know if that means anything to anyone.
My husband is a Virgo. So yes. I don't really follow signs. I know mine and I know his. So
So it's just like, one, I have to observe people first before I can speak to them. Like, I'm not outgoing. Like, when we're friends, I'm the best. But at first I'm just like, I need to be like, and
I know.
I
know. That is him in a nutshell. It is.
Yeah. So just being an entrepreneur, I would tell people, everything that you think you cannot do, or you don't like to do, or you're not used to doing, you're going to do. At some point or another, it will come out. So just be prepared for that part, because sometimes I'm not prepared for that part, because sometimes I went to a pitch competition. That's not me. I'm normally like, but I'm like, you know what, F it. I want this money. My business has to grow. I have to just talk. So it's just like, get prepared for that part. If you don't prepare yourself for that part, you can mentally damage yourself. Everything doesn't have to be overnight, but just know, if you want your business to be successful and it's really just you, mentally prepare for the things that you don't think you can do. That's what I would say.
That's great advice. There are things that I know now and have worked on continuously over the last few years that I never thought. Like this right here, this interview.
Girl, like I'm a little mild right now, but normally, like, if you go to my first couple lives, I'm like this, I'm like this, I'm like this, like I'm all over the place. I'm rubbing my nose. Like, it's just always something. Now I'm a little bit more calmer, but I had to learn that.
Yeah, me too. So did I.
I do better with talking to people than I do on live, just people in the comments.
Right.
I'm not good at that part. Like, that part, you'll see me and it's still a little weird, but if we're here, I can do this better.
Yeah. Okay. Last question for you before we wrap up. Um, who do you look up to or admire in the womb health and wellness community? Are there any other business owners or companies or advocates that you look up to?
Yeah, so I would say the doctor that I work with now, her name is Amy Gay Weinstein. She's an African American doctor. She's amazing. And I would say I look up to her only because the field that she's in, for us women, Black women especially, people do not listen to us. Um, you know, you go to a doctor, you think you're going to them for their expertise, and you tell them what's wrong, and then they're like, no, like that's
Mm-hmm.
not, or no, it's like acid reflux. But deep
Mm-hmm.
inside, you got a damn hole in the middle of your chest. It ain't
Mm-hmm.
just like it's a hole there. I know that I feel it. You telling me no, it's just acid reflux.
Right.
That doesn't work for me. And she's
Mm-hmm.
not that type of person. Like no matter what you say, she's gonna listen to you and she's gonna figure it out. She does a lot of advocating for women, especially Black women. She does a lot of things in Africa for different women organizations. Like to me, she's just an all around amazing person. She's down to earth. So that's the person I would say that I look up to right now.
Okay. Well, that is great. I want to thank you again for taking the time to chat with me tonight. I did not, and totally missed this in the beginning. Um, I am Kelly Collins, and I'm an Endo Black ambassador, and I volunteered to do this interview with you. I knew about UndiWash, but I wanted to um, do this interview so I can learn more about it. Um, and I'm so glad I did because, like again, I have clients and friends and whoever who suffer from so many different, um, womb and reproductive health issues and so many different things. But anybody who has a vagina should know about this product. I between my clients, friends, and family, I know that as we age and get older, things change, our hormones, lifestyles, and again, depending on how you live and what you're eating and everything else can contribute to your health. But I think it's products like yours who really bring to light the difficulties that we just sometimes have and the need for products like yours. Because again, you seeing doctor after doctor and them putting you on these antibiotics, which can sometimes and oftentimes do make things worse, or they mask the real problem. I think that your product and your solution has definitely has shined a light and on some of these things that we still have issues with. And just like you said, our doctors, um, they just don't have a listening ear most of the time. But we are our own experts on our bodies, and I'm so glad that um, even through your frustration and with all the things that you dealt with, that you said, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna develop a product. And I think it's totally changed the game, like honest to God, because when you think about something like BV, yeast infections, all these things, you think something's wrong internally when really, again, it could be the type of underwear you're wearing. It could be too much moisture or whatever the case is. But
See,
if
I
you're
decided on a detergent too, because a lot of people, they're quick, and it's because I look at the other people, what they're doing, putting things inside the vagina. I'm like,
right,
I
who
wasn't
wants
big on
that?
it. I'm like, people are so quick. So these people have thousands of followers and all of these sales, but I'm
Mhm.
like, let's figure out the outside problem.
Yes,
And then if we need to go inside, let's go inside.
right,
But being so quick to stick something up there, that
right.
didn't work for me. Like I tried that when I was 16, to make it smell like flowers, and that burned.
Yeah.
That wasn't for me.
Mm-mm.
So let's figure out the outside triggers. and what we're putting inside of, our mouths as opposed to inside our vagina. So,
Exactly. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I do.
yeah.
I do. But again, thank you so much, Shannon. Before we get off, please let the listeners know where they can find you on social media.
Okay, so I am mainly just on Instagram, the Facebook. I've been off of Facebook 12 years. I can't figure it out. So come find me on Instagram at UndiWash. That's going to be UndiWash.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Shannon. I wish you all the best with UndiWash, with expansion. I hope that we can get you in some more stores and some doctors' offices,
Yeah, we're going to get there.
And most definitely some more international orders, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. I hope you have a good night.
You as well.
And